Season 5, new ways to play, new weapons, Easter egg hunts. We're doing it all live over on my Twitch channel if you want to come hang out and join in on the discussion. I'd love to see you out there if you're willing, so if you want to hang out and chat, links in the description below. I gotta ask, what's an update in Modern Warfare without hidden changes? Without things not mentioned in the patch notes? Well, to me, that's not a real update then if there's not things hidden away. But anyways, you get the point. Every single update, we get changes that aren't conveyed to the general public unless we ourselves find them. Today, I want to run down every change with you so that you know what the fuller extent of this update actually is. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Did I, one, miss any glaring things that you've seen change firsthand? And also, of these changes, what is your favorite or anything in between? As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and COD 2020 as we approach what looks to be a great few weeks ahead here to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty related. But anyways, let's talk about the update. We're going to talk a little bit about some MP changes, some Warzone changes, and some stuff that you may see in the menus visually, but first, I'd feel remiss as someone who talks about newer stuff in the game if I didn't mention the adjustments that we'd seen kickstart over the weekend here with this. That being some COD 2020 marketing in Warzone. If you've jumped on and played Warzone at all here, you may have noticed that at random, your screen will flicker in a sort of transmission distortion style in which you can see a little bit of flashes of what to many is indiscernible, but to some can be picked out. The first one that I ended up seeing here, and as of recording this, the only one that I've seen in-game myself, is one that flashes and says, "Know your history." There are a handful of these listed in the game files that have been data mined already, so it seems like this progressive 2020 marketing will keep going, and it will be something we see continue on over the course of the next couple of weeks, perhaps, but it's going to be showcasing a little bit more of what we can learn about what very well could be COD 2020. But that's something definitely you should check out, and I think is a really cool way to integrate COD 2020 teasers into a real-time experience for players. But that was one of the big things here that I didn't want to just tuck away at the end of the video, but instead let you know right up front, so if you've seen it, you're not crazy. Let's jump into some changes here in terms of stuff that wasn't mentioned in patch notes. Firstly, on the MP side of things, we end up seeing there's actually a brand new barrel for the Grau 5.56. With update 1.24, we ended up getting the FSS 11.8-inch barrel, which improves your ADS speed, but also sacrifices bullet velocity. So all the other barrels kind of had a little bit of their range of benefits and drawbacks, but none that really touched on specifically those two and those two alone. So this was added in here with this. If you want to end up unlocking it, you need to get 3 point-blank kills in 5 different matches, and from there, it's all yours. In terms of overall viability, I don't know if I'll necessarily even care to unlock this one, since the Archangel and the Nexus barrels, to me, are still by and far the best barrels that we have for the Grau. Next, another feature that's finally come over from Warzone in some capacity is that in some modes, you can actually end up pinging locations in multiplayer, even so much as so going to the fact where you can live ping someone and they have that recon drone red dot above them, and you can see where their position is, again, in real time. This can be very helpful in things like gunfight, that information can absolutely win you around, and I think this is a nice addition as somebody that plays a lot of Warzone, being so used to those mechanics and features. Going back into MP, I often find myself hitting that up arrow on the D-pad trying to ping things, but it doesn't do anything. So nice to see that finally coming over here as well. In Warzone, we end up seeing a handful of different changes here across the board. Firstly, one big one is that if you end up getting a kill on a player, they're guaranteed to drop at least 1 plate. Of course, if you end up killing one player who's fully kitted out, you'll end up maybe getting everything they have in, say, an armor satchel and maybe 8 plates in reserve. But if you end up, say, killing somebody that's a fresh player right out of the gulag or right off the initial drop or a buyback, you can actually end up getting 1 plate as well out of that. So this is a nice new feature that will guarantee just a little bit more in terms of that kill value. So definitely a nice addition, I think. In terms of buy stations, we saw a few different changes here in terms of the pricing for a few items. Firstly, buybacks for your teammates now only cost $4,000 instead of $4,500. That's actually a huge difference in terms of functional gameplay, because $500 can be something that is very hard to come by sometimes. It's of course always when you need it, and then others you'll find stacks of 1,200, 2,000 and up with relative ease, but definitely nice that you can end up getting those players back if needed for just a little bit cheaper. I know that already I've had some situations where that slight difference in price definitely saved my team, where I could get 2 players back instead of just 1 because I had $8,000 instead of $9,000 on me. Another change is that of the price of self-revive. Here, once again, just like buybacks, that was dropped down to $4,000 instead of $4,500 where it was previously, now making it something that could could be worth your while if you want to say usually buy a UAV instead. I'm not sure if I will, because oftentimes whenever I play, I'll play aggressively and then I just get thirsted immediately, so I wouldn't even have the chance for that. So in my case, it may just be a waste of 4,000 cash, so I might just get the UAV instead. But the final thing that was changed in terms of pricing was that of the munitions box. That's now $4,500 instead of its previous $5,000 price tag at the buy stations. In terms of audio, it was adjusted in terms of footsteps, but also ladder audio, which is something that has been literally non-existent since the launch of Warzone. So two big changes here in terms of audio, and I'm super happy with both things that I've heard. The ladder audio, I admittedly, anecdotally haven't had much experience to test out all that much, but footstep audio has definitely felt a lot better, at least on my end, since Season 5 began. And that's something that I am incredibly thankful for. Whether or not we'll still have those situations where somebody could be sprinting through a field right next to you and you don't have that audio to follow, I don't know if I'm quite there just yet. I don't know if it's perfect. Haven't seen every single scenario just yet, but I definitely have noticed footsteps a lot easier than that of before. So big changes there and some stuff that wasn't mentioned to the extent, but nice adjustments no less. Talking about some fundamental and some design changes here still, one awesome thing that I absolutely love is that there's now finally a way to get from the bottom to the top of Dam, which is something there was never before, other than of course scaling the side right by the hills, which was a little bit of parkour if you had to do that, but then you had to go all the way out and around. But now there's a direct route from the bottom to the top. There's now a zipline ascender that you can end up getting to from the demoed side of the control room of Dam. If you're looking at Dam, it's the left side and back in those sort of concrete corridors. There's a new way to get through there. You can go up, down, and of course even fall down that shaft, so be careful if you do look down and try and maybe gatekeep that on enemies trying to come up. But it's definitely a nice way to get from point A to point B relatively fast and easily, whereas you could never before, and that's awesome. The Rytek AMR finally is now kind of viable within Warzone. I don't know if I'd still take it over, say, an HDR or an AX50 if you're a sniper, or even a Kar 98K, but you can now end up one-shot headshotting players if you end up running the Rytek. Beforehand, it was glitched where it wouldn't do one-shot headshot damage to knock a player or in solos or if they're the last alive to finish them off, but now it can do that. Under the radar and not in patch notes, there were actually a couple of things added into the game in terms of functional usable items within Warzone. Such things firstly including as new canisters. Both flammable and gas canisters are available and super rare, it seems like, around the map. I've only seen images here on Reddit and over on some socials as well. Haven't experienced it for myself despite playing probably anywhere from 5 to 10 hours of Warzone so far since Season 5 has launched, but that's something that you can pick them up, throw them, or light fuses on them, and also you can shoot them almost like kind of like a roadside explosive target. So that stuff is pretty cool. I would imagine that has something to do with an Easter egg coming up, but that's just a guess that I have as of right now. Additionally, there are other super rare and secret items added in, such as things like the durable gas mask that was added. That one in particular is 3 to 4 times more effective and longer lasting than that of the standard gas mask, which goes down 1 tick every second, but this lasts 3 to 4 seconds per tick. Along with that, we also saw various number of things in the stadium Easter egg introduced, such as an actual holdable advanced UAV, specialist bonus, and things like a juggernaut drop. So those things were added into here within Warzone, again, under the radar and unmentioned in patch notes, but are some cool stuff no less that may be on the rarer side of things. Sort of in a transition from in-game changes in items to things that you'll see maybe in the menu, one thing also to note is that there are new intel missions. These were added in within Season 5's update that gives us a little bit more of some backstory here for Modern Warfare and Verdansk. That stuff I'm really interested in. I know I'm a story nerd, but you guys may not pay too much attention to it, but it's a nice way to get a little bit of XP here if you want to just do something really simple, jumping into some plunder games or something like that and just backing right out. Additionally, on the menu side of things, there's now a new icon in your armory for your cryo dismemberment and other dismemberment effects. That's something that you'll now see that icon listed right on top of that armory card that you can see. So it's a sort of quick selection if you're somebody that loves these dismemberment effects and maybe tracer rounds as well that often come with it. So those things are added in as well. The top dog execution was now renamed to Riley. Not only one, just doing some changing there on a visual side of thing, but also confirming now that it's Riley from Ghost. So kind of cool bleed over there as well. Cool reference. The Easter egg for Stadium, of course, was added in. That's something we've talked about here on the channel, so don't really want to go too in-depth into that, but you can end up getting a nice CR56 variant by completing that if you so choose to go after it. Additionally, there was new content on the PlayStation 4 side of things that adds in a new exclusive bundle. If you're on PlayStation 4, you can go to the add-on section in the PlayStation Store, or you can just search it up as well. But from there, you can see that there is the Season 5 free combat pack, in which that will come along with a handful of items. The On the Volley submachine gun, the Injury Time Watch, the Sparks Charm, the Stunning Strike calling card, the Sparks Pride emblem, the Footballer Zane skin, and if you don't have him already, Zane as an unlockable operator. This following a little bit of the pattern here and theme of football or soccer, because Stadium is opening up. But interestingly enough, and I don't know if this is something that is actually across the board for all other PS4 combat packs we've had beforehand, because we've gotten one each season here within Modern Warfare because of their exclusivity deal. Interestingly enough, these right now don't work on PC or other consoles if you do have the game on another platform. Myself, I have PlayStation 4 and PC. Because of cross-save, I can end up jumping onto either platform and have the exact same items, but for whatever reason, the cosmetics here don't transfer with this bundle. So that's something to be aware of if you have PS4 and the game, but maybe you play on Xbox or on PC. Just be aware of that one. Now, that was the content added in. That was the changes made here with this, but also I think it's fair to mention that there were a fair share of unintended bugs that seemed to happen here with this. The play again option within Warzone is busted, and it will not let you quickly re-queue into another match, whereas you could before. On the PC side of things, you have a handful of frame issues where you'll drop frames a lot more than beforehand. And the big one, especially in Warzone, is the spectating and weapon model bugs that persist right now. These are quite literally game breaking. You can pick up a weapon and then it will just glitch out as if it's sort of like an alien weapon that covers the majority of, if not your entire screen, when you try and use it. So that's something that is honestly incredibly bad and hopefully is fixed out very soon. It was around, I want to say, up until the mid-season update for Season 4, but then was fixed out, but has now once again returned. But anyways, that is the changes here that were made and were not listed in the patch notes. Some secret changes here that Infinity Ward didn't tell you about, if you will. But anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. So let me get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of these changes? Did I miss any firstly? And of course, which ones are your favorites if you have played around and experienced any of these for yourselves? As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and COD 2020 as we approach again what could be an awesome couple of weeks here for content. Make sure you stick it here if you don't want to miss any of that. And of course, if you want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get content outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.